Hey guys, it's Brian Redgrave here, the one and only as far as I'm aware. I don't think there's any other Brian Redgrave out there. And today I have two guests because today we're going to be doing our top seven Legend of Zelda games. And when I say Legend of Zelda games, I mean any Legend of Zelda game. It doesn't have to be a mainline title. It doesn't have to be on the timeline placement. It can just be anything that's Legend of Zelda game related. Joining me here today, you guys seen him before, Ash Williams, been here a couple times.
What up, what up, what up?
Joining me for the first time ever
Fuck.
is Jose.
Hello.
He'll be joining me for the first time ever. He's a big Zelda fan, so I had to for sure get him on this one.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Right? Who doesn't love The Legend of Zelda?
It's the best freaking RPG
Look, it's,
series
it's
I ever
literally
played.
on my skin. Look, you see, hold on, wait. Yeah, there you go. You can see the Triforce Heroes.
If I had a
Yeah.
cam,
On
I would have
top of
showed
that,
you my merch.
I have a lot of stuff, but it's too much to show. And to follow up on Ash's, I actually have my son's name in Hylian, the Hylian alphabet of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess.
Oh,
I love it,
Twilight
man.
Princess.
So
That's beautiful.
yeah, we all love Zelda here.
And then everybody can tell right now that the picture I have right now,
Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword Link and his Lost Wing.
they soon gonna know what number he's gonna be in.
All right, let's just get started with it. Ash, you started off with your number. For the record, why are we doing a top seven, not a top five or a top 10? Well, top five I think makes it too hard because the Legend of Zelda has a lot of good games. But then a top 10 makes it too easy because I have to put pressure on these guys to see what they put on the list. And a top 10 will make that easier. So as a big Dragon Ball fan, I chose the number seven because, there's seven Dragon Balls. So that's why I
Okay.
chose the number seven. So,
That's
Ash,
fair.
why don't you start us off with your number seven favorite Legend of Zelda?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna immediately, get off the normal topic. There is
Okay.
a Legend of Zelda storyline with Link that I think is one of the most fun to play and one of the most like neatly tight knit stories, like tight fitting into another universe that is the best, and that is his feature in Soul Calibur 2.
So called. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, so listen, hold on. Link's feature in Soul Calibur 2, for those of you that don't know, um, is basically like semi-canonized in the Soul Calibur universe, with the fact that Link is basically in Hyrule when Soul Edge splits, and once it starts traveling, all the way across, the world and whatever, one piece ends up landing in Link's hand, and he's like, you know what? Well, this is another adventure, and I believe in that game he gets a Soul Edge version and he gets a Soul Calibur version as well, as a weapon to use. So, and the end of his little arcade run, he like plays his ocarina and like teleports, and you hear the sound of the Song of Time, and it's like super super melancholic, and it's the art style's amazing, everything in it is amazing, and it gave me fucking goosebumps.
I do remember playing the Soul Calibur with Link in it, and I remember doing like the adventures. I was able to
Yeah,
get the Megaton hammer and
that's what I'm
everything
saying. He's
else.
the only character besides Nightmare on that game that I like to use.
And it's unfortunate that when they made the HD version of that game, Link was not around. They only had Hachi and Spawn on the Xbox and the PlayStation for obviously Nintendo reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Nintendo being so greedy. Just one fucking time, just let him out of the fucking basket.
And
They said no, we're gonna keep him in there.
no,
Yeah.
we don't share our boy.
That's messed up, man. It's totally messed up. They don't let that dude do shit.
All right. Jose, you're up.
All right, all right. So for number seven is the least, right?
Yes.
Okay. My least one, I have to say, it would be Legend of Zelda. Spirit Tracks.
Okay.
Like I played that game, it was all right. I didn't have too much fun with the whole train mechanic. It was pretty weird
Who did?
because I was always like,
it was
I was so
there you
used
have
to
it.
the whole 2 foot, travel or companion, like a horse or something like that, and then just came out of nowhere with trains. I'm like, it's a neat little concept, a little bit change. Gameplay wise, wasn't too bad because the whole touchscreen and everything else. That's a little bit annoying. If you have a small DS, trust me, you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But story wise, story wasn't too bad. Story wasn't too bad. I did like the plot twist and everything else, and that final boss, yo,
Yeah,
that
no.
that kind of like threw me off. I was like, oh, this is the final boss. Big freaking lion looking dude.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool. You get to break his horns and stuff like that, and then you have to protect Zelda while she's like concentrating her energy, and then you had to protect her at
It could be
Share
the
your
island
annoying.
with
energy with
meteors.
me.
Meteors. I hated it. I hated
Yeah,
it.
no. It could be annoying. She's trying to
And
make the
after I
story
finished
run,
it,
like he
that
said.
game was put away.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, share your energy with me. It takes fucking 20 million years.
No, these
I was not
annoying
expecting
stuff.
that one. The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. Interesting. Yeah. My number 7. It's the one and only spinoff I have in my list, and I figured I'll start with the spinoff. It should be quite obvious. I'm going with the original Hyrule Warriors, the first
Oh,
All
one.
right, you could do those.
I'm not going with the second one, even though the second one, in terms of gameplay, it's a lot better, smoother, new mechanics that they took from Breath of the Wild. The reason I'm going with the first one still is because where Age of Calamity is only based around Breath of the Wild, I
yep.
prefer this one because this is based around the entire Zelda franchise. With characters from Link's Awakening to Majora's Mask to Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, and from
And
there on,
etc.
there on.
The Majora's
Those,
Mask maps were the
honestly,
best on that.
there's some down points in here, like no actual voice dialogue. Right, we're reading Age of Calamity took that, and they have actual
Oh yeah,
voice
they took that
acting.
advantage. They had
So
that
like, see,
nice voice
Age of
acting.
Calamity did some stuff better, but the story and the idea of the worlds of Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and the Wind Waker colliding makes it like a fan dream where you have characters like Midna, meaning Garuda, and stuff we'll probably never see again, only in this game.
I had to get
Oh
that
no,
game.
no, listen.
Yeah, this game is
Nintendo's gonna do it
all about the
again.
fan service. So the story being around colliding all the time, like, a roster that goes from A Link Between Worlds to Twilight Princess, like it's all over the place in a good way. You can literally play it with some of your favorites in from almost any Zelda game. Almost, not everyone, but
Yeah.
it's a fun ride, and it's why it's in my top 7 list, right? Because obviously this game to me and Ash used to play the shit out of it when it first came out on the Wii U. I actually also own the 3DS version, which sucked ass, and then the Switch version is the best version to play.
Yeah,
That's
we
my number
murderized
7.
the Majora's Mask map. We
Yeah,
destroyed that shit.
we played the shit out of the Wii U one.
Oh man, I remember playing Majora's Mask.
Yo,
Know the
listen.
whole map behind the back of my
Let,
head.
let,
yo.
let, let's
If
wait.
if I haven't played that for
Just don't
years, I
talk
can
about
still
Majora's
remember.
Mask yet.
All right, Jose, give us your number 6.
Oh, me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got you. My number 6. My number 6 is freaking Phantom Hourglass.
Oh yeah,
This guy's a
Phantom
yes guy.
Hourglass.
Even though
Yeah,
the one thing
clearly we
I
know
put
what
it on
system
number
he was
6
playing on.
because it's not too bad of a game, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad of a game because essentially, I want to say, like, I haven't done research about it, but like I'm pretty sure that Phantom Hourglass is like a sequel towards Wind Waker in a way.
Yeah, it is. It is
Oh,
actually.
it is?
It is.
It is a direct
It is,
sequel
Okay,
to
okay,
Wind
okay.
Waker.
So I was right. So like I did like that part of the story when it shows off with Tetra and her like pirate ships
Yeah.
with her shipmates and everything, and then freaking it was cool that when the ghost ship came through, I was just like, oh, they're still being chased by that thing.
It's
But
just it's annoying that when you like lose in certain temples. You have to start from the beginning. That was
Mhm.
annoying.
Oh yeah, that was annoying. Then you had to
Yeah,
go that same room that you had to go.
all the way back. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
annoying.
But I did like the power ups in that game because depending on if you I forgot the fairies' names to be honest because it's been so long.
I
But
won't even remember the fairy's name either. I don't remember.
I do
I'm
remember
usually the
the
encyclopedia,
power
but I
fairy
also
because I remember the three abilities. The power fairy, she gives you double damage, and then I think the blue fairy give you like double shield, and then the neutral one, the green one, give you like a sword beam. I think it's depending on like how much um what was it, the Den and the Nehru and the Nehru's I think it was like little power gem. I think if you have like 40 of them, that's you unlock all their powers and stuff like that. That was a neat concept that they did in Phantom Hourglass. It was pretty cool, but like it was very tedious because some of those items were very freaking hidden, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, these developers, yo. I'm like, who placed this here?
I know
It
for
took
real.
me off. The ship, the whole cruise into the ocean. I can see a lot of people saying, "Yo, this is crap." You had to draw the line to where to leave where the ship is at and everything. Like not like Wind Waker that you can actually control the boat.
I
But
think that was. I think that was more of a limitation of
I'm
the
grabbing a
DS.
lighter.
Though. That's probably more of a limitation of the DS. Because remember,
yeah,
the Wind
probably
Waker
like the
was on
DS
the
during
GameCube.
that time, the DS didn't have that much power into it. But it was a good game though. I did like no, I hate the one part from that game with the whole with the map situation that you had to close your DS to actually get the stamp from the freaking wall. This whole time, oh, was it a good friend of mine back in like in middle school? He was like, "Oh, you just gotta close your DS." I'm like, "Close my DS," and I closed it, and then I opened back up, and then
Nintendo with
the
their
stamp was on
gimmicks.
the other side. I was like, this whole time I didn't know this was a freaking feature.
I'm not
Nintendo
gonna
with their
lie to
gimmicks.
you. I had the same problem. I had no idea that I had to close my DS, and I was
Those
so
people
pissed
that
off I almost threw
blow
it.
air at the DS like Nintendo and their gimmicks.
Yep, they took advantage of that. They were like, let's put that right here and see what the people's reaction would be. Freaking
Alright.
Nintendo. Well, that
Ash,
was
That
my
was a
number
good
6.
reception.
yep, Phantom Hourglass. Ash, you're number 6.
Oh well, my number 6 is super duper easy. Wind Waker.
Mm.
And let me explain to you why. I love the Wind Waker.
Your audio's going buck wild.
How about now?
No,
A
it's
little
going buck
closer.
wild.
Let me try something.
No problem.
How about me?
It's you. Just exit and rejoin. That usually
All
fixes
right,
it.
that's
So
exactly
I'm
what
gonna
I'm
tell
gonna
my
do.
number 6 in the meantime.
Wait, is his volume is like muffling or something?
Oh, no, I don't know what's going on. The audio thing coming out of you. So just exit the room and rejoin us again.
Okay, you want me to leave and then rejoin?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Just exit it and just rejoin it. And of course, the phone starts acting up. All right, guys, we're having technical difficulties.
Use
Hello.
headphones, Brian. That's what it says in the main menu. Before you enter, it says to put on headphones.
It's still going on, sir. Try
1
doing it
second.
without the headphones.
In the main menu says that if you experience echo issues, to put on headphones.
I can't
You're the
even.
only one with headphones.
It's going buck wild, sir.
A second.
I really apologize, guys, for all these issues that we're having here. I don't know what's going on. I know Ash is about to name Wind Waker as his number 6. I'm definitely dying to hear that, as you guys probably are dying to hear that. But for some reason, I don't know what's going on. So far, we have Jose named Spirit Tracks as his number 7, and Phantom Hourglass as his number 6. Ash named Link's appearance in Soul Calibur 2 as his number 7. I guess I did allow spin-offs or anything where Link has been involved in. And he was about to name Wind Waker number 6. They should be back now. There we go. We got Jose back.
I'm back.
I don't know what the hell's going on here.
So do I sound perfect, clear on your end?
It's going crazy, yo.
Wait, what's happening now?
No, I don't know what's going on, yo. This shit's going crazy.
Oh no. No, I'm in the show.
Let's see now.
All right.
All right, perfect. And here we go. Ash.
I restarted my whole device.
Now what? I hear my own echo.
Yeah, I hear it too.
You need headphones. There you go. He heard me now. Dude, it literally says it before you go into the stream that if you experience echo issues to use headphones. It literally says it right there, and it stops.
Hello?
Yeah. I bet we're all good now.
Are we all good? No, I'm getting the echo.
I hear echo still.
Let me see something.
Do you have headphones, buddy?
Talk. Okay. So.
Hello.
I took you out the screen, and the echo was gone. The echo's coming out of you.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I literally just activated you out, and the echo stopped.
I mean, is it good now? Can you hear me? No?
I hear echo.
What the fuck? Hold on. Let me try switching my headphones.
Guys, we're having technical difficulties.
Oh no. Didn't think we would go like this.
We'll see. See, I muted him and see if the echo's gone. Hello?
How about now? Any better?
I still hear echo. I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
I really don't know what's happening right now. I'm so confused. My shit is all low. Like, it's not like any of these headphones don't work.
All right. This is what we're gonna do. Whenever you're not talking, mute yourself.
Okay.
All right, I can think we'll do that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we'll do.
Okay. Does that sound good?
Yeah, you sound good. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Ash. Sorry, guys, for like the 3-minute inconvenience. You're number 6.
My number 6?
Yes.
Is it working properly or no? Okay, good. Thank God. My number 6, it was Wind Waker. I was in the middle of that. Look, I love Wind Waker. I love its story. It's really cute, but that's exactly its problem. Is that as a Zelda game, it looks like something that was made for a Disney fan, and I didn't really exactly enjoy the cartoony stuff. I mean, it's pretty. The cell shade is nice, and the environments are great. The boat mechanic was retarded, but I don't know anyone that really liked that, except in the Wii U version, you got the sail, so the sail worked. What else about Wind Waker? Oh, yeah, the ending is the most brutal ending in all the Zelda games. Ganondorf gets literally stabbed right in the forehead. Like, that's super metal. And that's why that's my number 6.
All right. The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Now, you both name your number 6, and I have my number 6, which is actually in agreement with Mr. Torres, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Now, I personally personally, I had no trouble with the cell shading. I actually love the animation of the Wind Waker because it is the most different in the series, and because of that type of animation, is the most expressive Link showing emotions and all that. And I completely love it. I love the Wind Waker. Its combat was at the time amazing. There is a Zelda game that improved upon it even more. We'll get to that later. But the combat was still amazing. If you play the Wii U version, the NHD, it could honestly pass for a new game still because of its art style. So I actually love the art style. It has some great dungeons. It had some down moments like Triforce pieces. Thank God the Wii U version sort of fixed that. But yeah, overall though, Ganondorf I enjoyed. He was great. I like this version of Link. Is he my favorite version of Link? Absolutely not at all. But he's still fun to play as because he's essentially a child, a legit like cartoony child. Um, but yeah, the music in Wind Waker, the music is I love the music. I love the music of like any Zelda game, but the Wind Waker has some definitely very good tracks, memorable tracks, and that's why it's my number six. So let's get to number five. And Ash, why don't you start us off with your number five?
Okay. Well, my number five, Brian, will surprise you. Um, but it's in there because of you, so you know. And it's Twilight Princess. Man, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. At first, I thought that Twilight Princess was trash. Looking at Link the way he did, he just looked retarded a little bit to me on the GameCube. But when the Wii U version came out, and it looked a lot better, let's all be honest here, didn't look blurry and whatever. Uh, but the wolf mechanic was amazing. It was creepy. Midna was creepy. I mean, you just had this crazy soundtrack. Like you knew Link was about to go do some crazy ass shit the moment you left the castle and started hearing the dun 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 dun, dun. Then it was all awesome. And man, that final battle was fucking crazy, ridiculous. It was like fucking like 3 or 4 stages or something like that. You had to fight Pig Ganondorf, the Phantom Zelda, then Ganondorf, I think twice. I don't know. It was insane. Um, and yeah, no, great game, great Zelda game. Little tidbit: Twilight Princess. The reason that it doesn't hold up so well in the eyes of Nintendo is because it has the realistic visuals, and they did that way too early. There you go.
Mr. Jose, give us your number five.
All right, I got you. Got you with my number five. But Wind Waker, I like the HD version, more fact HD version. But my true number five right now, it would be you guys gonna be like, what? That's gonna be your number five? It's gonna be Triforce Heroes. Let me explain.
What?
Let me explain. The only reason why I like this game, and it's gonna be my number five, is because of the dungeons. They're pretty small, but they gave us like 32 dungeons, and then they had their own unique way of their like depending on how you're supposed to solve the certain dungeons they throw at you in that game. It's not bad. It wasn't that bad. Playing solo, it was very difficult playing solo, very very difficult. But I did
That's
play with some
how
people
I played it.
online.
I played it solo. I had to pull through.
Yeah, freaking. I was just like, oh damn, this freaking switching mechanics, switching. It's basically, you're just like switching your soul basically to
Hmm.
each of the links on body,
Hmm.
which is pretty cool. If that was like actually canon, if he's just switching his souls like that, that would be freaking gnarly. But freaking story wise on that game, trash, trash,
Absolutely. No,
trash.
I understand where you're coming from because gameplay mechanics. Triforce Heroes is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
lot of fun. Don't get
it's
me
a lot
wrong.
of fun.
It's a fun game, but
The problem with that game, it's essentially shitty storyline, and probably without a doubt one of the worst Zelda storylines out there.
yeah, like what was it called? Heartopia or something like that.
Something like that.
Oh, and then they say supposedly that link is the link from A Link Between Worlds. Like
That's what
he
makes it
just
even worse.
he just went
That's
off.
one of my
Like
favorite
how
links, and
did he
they
went
ruined
from
him.
how did he went from freaking the Link to the Past design, and then all of a sudden he just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna turn Toonie. Like how the hell you went from that to Toon Link? Like how? And then you're saying, oh yeah, that's the same person from that
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
So
It's
how he just magically just got more shorter, and then he just changed his whole appearance? Like how does that happen?
the
But I did
Triforce
like
Heroes.
there was a character there. He resembles like Link, but he had pink hair.
Yeah, yeah.
I did like that little Easter egg, and that also another Easter egg. The fourth one, it's supposed to be the purple one, but he was like thrown under the bus essentially. You can actually find him in Hytopia, like towards the right. He's just there, nothing.
Yeah.
But
I understand where you're coming from. Triforce Heroes. Playing the game, I had a lot of fun with the game.
yeah, that game is it's
It's just
way
one of
more fun if
those
you play with friends.
you gotta get past the story to
Yeah,
enjoy
you
the
gotta
game.
get past that. If you get past that, then other than that, it's a fun game to play with friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
did like the battle arena. The battle arena was pretty cool. I put my time in there, just beating those guys up with my best armor. Other than that, I felt like they could have done better with the story. To be honest, if they didn't have the whole, oh yeah, the princess is cursed and she can't wear her dress.
And she looks like poop.
Yeah, like how you going from yeah, let's beat this boss, let's beat the main warlock dude, turn to a giant pig, and then all of a sudden, yeah, we're gonna take down some
Which
madam lady with freaking fashion design, something like that. I don't know. It was just to be honest, it was just trash. Gameplay wise, good, but story wise, it was
all
trash.
right, yeah, that's fair. That's fair, fair, fair.
I have to say, buddy, that was so garbage. Like so garbage. Oh my god.
That's the power of opinion, sir.
Yes.
Dog water game though.
My number 5. It's The Legend of Zelda Skywars Sword, which its HD version is coming out next month. So I cannot wait because that version is going to fix my one problem with this game. The motion controls. So at least on the HD version, Nintendo announced that you can actually play with the Pro controller, and the sword swinging is actually going to be with the right analog. So I'm dying to play the game like that. But shitty controls outside. My favorite version of Princess Zelda. Probably my favorite or second favorite Legend of Zelda soundtrack. I love this Link. I love Girahim. I like the idea of the mines. The dungeons were fun. There was some stuff I don't like, but I'll get to that in a second. I do like traveling through the sky, even though the sky was like empty and there was like nothing to do in it. I do like the idea of being on the loft wing and flying around. I found that to be a blast because it was different. You were no longer on a horse, so it was different. But honestly, Girahim was a very original villain compared to anything the franchise has seen.
Creepy as hell too.
Yeah.
That tongue though.
Yes, and then I do like how you fight him multiple times on the game, each time being harder than the one before. Now there are some things I don't like. Number one, I don't like that you have to fight the Imprison like 3 or 4 times. I don't like that. That fight was tedious the first time around, so to do it like 2 more times, without counting if you go for the boss rush to get the healing shield and you have to fight that guy again. The boss rush
That
was
was
harder
tedious.
than it needed to be because the motion controls made it harder than it needed to be. I remember dying at certain occasions I wanted to break my fucking controller. Not because I suck, no, but because I would thrust forward and Link was slicing left and right. It was an annoying thing. So that the world is really linear compared to Legend of Zelda standards, which is, thanks to this game, is that we have Breath of the Wild, it became open world. So that downside actually led to something good. But yeah, overall, Fi is robotic. I don't like Fi. She's annoying. She's reminding you of stupidity. Sir, master, your batteries are about to die. Thanks. I didn't know that before. Master, there's a 98% chance the key is in this room. I know. I saw the damn chest, Fi. Like, she was annoying. She said shit that I already knew or obvious stuff. But yeah, like I said, the soundtrack, the world, the villains, the boss fights is. I like some of the dungeons. It's interesting because every area actually had two dungeons. Like you did three areas, and then you went back to the three areas to do the other dungeons. So it was different. But I still love the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and that is why it is my number 5. And I can't wait till next month for the Switch version.
Same here.
Yeah, cannot wait. So Jose, kick us off with your number 4.
Number 4. My number 4. Gotcha here. My number 4 would be the Minish Cap.
Which, fun fact, I actually was watching your streams when you were playing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But no, Minish Cap. The reason why it's number 4, because I feel like this game is super underrated. Like super
I agree.
underrated.
I also
Story was
third that.
amazing. Story, I like the build up of the story. Everything about it just kept keeping me going with that game. It just kept giving me going. It kept hyping me up with of what's the next scene and like what's gonna happen next. Like it was just amazing. That game was just too amazing. Freaking I did like the weapons, like the item inventory. I did like them. It was some of them they could have done more with it, but like I didn't like the little claw mints that you could dig through the walls. That one was pretty okay item.
I love the soundtrack of the Minish Cap, by the way.
Soundtrack is beautiful. Beautiful. My favorite soundtrack from that, it has to be The Woods. It has to be the Minish Woods.
Yeah.
That I just love. I used to just love traveling there, wasting my time there, just listening to that music. It was just.
I just want to say, Nintendo, can that be your next remake of a Zelda game?
Oh man! But there's another reason why I like this game, because the developers is from Capcom.
Yes.
Because Capcom put some like little, like they put some of their characters in there too. If you really like peep it, because I think it was like certain. I think it was like the trophies, little figurine trophies.
I'm pretty sure there's a reference to Devil May Cry in that one.
What was that? The echo.
There's a reference to Devil May Cry in the Minish Cap.
Oh yes. Freaking other than that, freaking the whole Hyrule field, it was pretty huge. It wasn't too small. It was. I gotta say, it was kind of like almost the same size as Link to the Past, but I could be wrong because I feel like Link to the Past was a little bit huger.
What made the game interesting was that you went from a normal size to a puny size. It just made it so different. We still to this day haven't seen anything like that still. Again.
But freaking other than that game was just not bad in my eyes when in the Legend of Zelda franchise.
Not in my eyes either.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Oh, and the tedious part of like getting all the 100% the game to really 100%, you have to beat the game first to get this one mirror shield. I think you have to beat it first. Then you have to go climb up to the freaking mountain. And then you meet, I think you talk to a Big Goron, like that huge Big Goron. And I think he gives you the freaking mirror shield. And then right there, the mirror shield is actually pretty OP because it reflects every single, I think it reflects every single enemy's attacks. including like their sword or something they threw or something like that. Like it can reflect almost anything. I was just like, wow, I didn't
Breaking
know
the
there was a
game.
mirror shield. I could have been OP with that.
Breaking the game.
Yep, yeah. I always love to break the game. Every time when I beat any Zelda game, I would try my best to try to like at least try to break the game afterwards with the
All right,
glitches
all
and
right.
stuff.
I agree. The Minish Cap is very, very underrated. I think it's soundtrack, the idea. I forgot what they're called. The Pitori, is that what they're called? I
Oh,
don't
the
remember.
Picori, yeah, the
Yeah,
Picori.
Pitori. I like the idea of them, and I wish we see them again. Apparently, they were thinking of including them in Breath of the Wild at one point, but they never made the cut.
Oh yeah, they
But
never made the cut because they were saying. I mean, it's gonna be tiny, so tiny that you're not gonna see it.
no, no, it is. So that's a shame. But I do, like, because Nintendo recently remade, 2 years ago, A Link's Awakening. Great,
Mhm.
my opinion, remake in my opinion. So I kind of want to see them remake the Minish Cap. I would love that. So I'm actually gonna go with my number 4. I'm gonna just take this right now and just drop the pipe bomb. The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, at my number 4.
What the fuck?
The classic.
Sorry, I just got attacked by the Legend of Zelda community.
And me too.
So, fun fact, first of all, Ash brought me the 3DS version of this game. So, thank him for that. Um, Here's the thing with Ocarina of Time. First of all, I love it. I love the music. I love the tempos. I love going from a child to an adult. I love all of that. Here's a couple things. Number one, even though the combat is still great, the combat has been heavily improved upon by other versions of the game. The soundtrack, I take nothing. This is probably among my favorite soundtracks as well. The thing with Ocarina of Time, even though it was my first Legend of Zelda game I played, it didn't leave that big of an impact on me like a certain other game did that's later on my list. But regardless of that, the world is great, even though, I mean, by today's standards, right, the Hyrule Field is kind of empty by today's standards. Um, and obviously, this game has been very, very important. Without this game, a lot of gaming trends started here, the lock-ons and everything. So this game will forever be an important part of history for many, many reasons. Gameplay, the bosses are fun. Ganondorf was a blast. Um, oh, sorry, I have a notification there. And but yeah, like the game's amazing. It's just there are 3 other games, in my personal opinion, for one reason or another, that are better than this game. And it's not taking anything from this game because this game is amazing. Especially this version. The 3DS version of this game blows the original out the water in every sense of the word. I prefer playing the remake and the 3DS or the original. That seems to be a trend with me. I don't know. I fucking seem to enjoy remakes more than originals at this point. Um, but yeah, and can I just say though that this is my favorite version of Ganondorf. Even though this is my number 4, this version of Ganondorf is my favorite Ganondorf design, character. Even though Ganondorf is in the other games, well, some of my other games in the list, this is without a doubt the best Ganondorf. And the final boss with Ganondorf is probably my favorite final boss of Ganondorf. Once he transforms, it's it's fantastic. It's honestly fantastic. This game, like I said, this game might have not been the game that. See, when growing up, I was what do you call that? In Spanish, we call that come mierda. Growing up, I was a type of child. The graphics matter. So obviously, when I first played this game, I was already playing like on PS2. So obviously, seeing the graphics to me in my child mentality, it was a downgrade. Like I don't know about this game. Obviously, going back to it years later, I was like, yeah, I was wrong. Like, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I play this game much sooner? Like, why didn't I finish this game much sooner? But the game was it's fantastic. It still has one of the best stories in the series, without a doubt. Shit, I would even argue that it has a better story than one game on my list like that's still to come. That game's on the list for different reasons. But yeah, the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is my number four. I know Ash is disappointed, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on as to why he's disappointed. So Ash, go ahead. And I said I was dropping a pipe bomb. I even did the whole Ash go.
I would kill you. We're not. We're we're in different places, so I can't do nothing to you. But God damn it, Brian, what the hell?
Hey,
Uh, Look, all right, my number four. All right, let's get it. It's a Link Between Worlds. Man, I got that 3DS, and I'm gonna tell you all a very sad story. In a brief version, okay. Link Between Worlds came out. I was kind of a troubled kid, so I was away for a while, and when I came back home, I had some money. And long story short, the very first thing I did with it is I took my $500 and I went directly to Target and I bought the 3DS with a Link Between Worlds, the Gold and Black. I beat the holy dickens out of this game. I had every conch shell, I had every item in the game. At that point, I was literally looking for ways to mod the game so I could screw around and, do other stuff. And that 3DS was microwaved by a bad person later on in my life. And it'll be the saddest moment in history. But point being is that it was such a good game. I mean, I hold that game very dear to my heart. And the only reason it's not in my top three is simply because the game was kind of slow, like compared to the next three.
it's the game that broke Zelda conventions. Also,
They did. It broke a lot of weird Zelda rules, but it was great. I loved the whole painting mechanic, and I mean, just the art style was so beautiful. Everything was so great, and they still stuck Ganondorf in there. Yeah, I know a lot of people didn't like that, but I did. I thought that was great.
I'm gonna follow
Uh,
up on that a little bit later.
Look, I thought. Oh, but yeah, sorry. Spoiler alert. After you think you beat the game, it's revealed that the person you thought you had just killed is possessing the power of Ganondorf because Ganondorf has to be in there. um, so it's just the same trick that they pulled in the game that I know is coming up on Brian's list over Ocarina of Time, which is a goddamn sin, but that's okay. It's all right. They did it in that game too. um, and yeah, no, Link Between Worlds is an amazing game. Oh, and the soundtrack for the like low rule, because it's high rule and then low rule. I think it's what it's called.
Yeah.
Also, a little fun Easter egg in the shack where you see the rabbit dude. The Majora's Mask is sitting on his wall. I don't know if anyone else was worried about that. I was.
So you try to
There you
go
go.
through the wall and then make yourself look like you're wearing a mask.
Yeah, no, I took pictures of that. I sent it to Brian.
That's what I like doing in that game.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing game. I loved it. The soundtrack, everything was just perfect. Like I said, the only reason that's not in my top three is because of the speed of the game. That's all. That's literally the only thing.
All right. All right. Very, very interesting picks. That is why I like doing top tens, top fives, top sevens with people because it's always good and fun to see other opinions and see other people's games on that list that might not be on my list, and especially the Legend of Zelda, which to a degree, no matter I don't know what any well I know I probably know Ash's already, but no matter what your number one is, your number two, there is like no wrong answer. The Legend of Zelda has so many fantastic games. If somebody told me the Wind Waker was their favorite one, if somebody told me Skyward Sword was their favorite one, I could never argue anybody about it because honestly, it's a franchise that's just built such an amazing legacy where even the bad is good, like Triforce Heroes. We already talked about that the story of that game was garbage, but it's just so fun to play. It still makes it a good game.
Hold on, Brian. There are exceptions to that rule.
Yeah,
And
no, we're talking
this.
about Nintendo Zelda games.
Okay, I was about to say, because you know what I was about to say, right?
Yeah. All right. Jose, number 3.
All right, my number 3, it has to be down. Link to the Past. Link to the Past has a special place in my heart because as a kid playing that game, I didn't even know what to do. I was like, wait, should I go to this crystal or that crystal? Or because like essentially they said that you don't have to go in order to save the princesses. You can like select each of the dungeon depending on like the items you have. That you could just like skip that dungeon and be like, oh, I could just skip this dungeon and do this and finish that, and then you can go back to the other dungeon and finish that. But story wise on that, it was amazing. Come on, you wake up, it's raining, you hear a person's voice in your like your mind or your head or something like that. You hear it, and then your uncle just goes, "Oh, stay here. I'm out to go to the castle." And you just like, "Yo, what the hell is going on?" And you just like, "I'm not gonna stay in the house. I'm gonna go outside and see what's going on." You go outside. It's raining. I love the shading and the just the design of it. The art design of that game was just such amazing. You hear the raindrops. You just if you imagine like the whole like scenario, like it's just you feel the vibe of the how you say it, the whole everything was happening too fast. Like you just woke up, everything's just happening too fast.
I'm imagining all that in my head right now, brother.
Mm-hmm. That game is so good. Freaking
What
soundtrack of it.
What Ocarina of Time did for the 3D Zeldas, A Link to the Past did for the 2D Zeldas.
2D Zelda games are pretty good because you can actually manipulate certain things with it, not other than 3D. But soundtrack of that game was amazing. Such an amazing soundtrack. Freaking, I used to listen to all that soundtrack all the damn time, and like when I would go to school, everybody would be like, "Yo, what you listening?" I'm like, "I'm listening to Link to the Past on freaking soundtrack." They're like, "Let me hear that," and then they hear the freaking Hyrule feels, and they were like, "Hey, that kind of slaps," and I was like, "I know my music." But freaking, seeing Princess Zelda in that game was actually pretty cool. Like how was it Ganondorf's alter ego? What the heck is that guy's name? Oh, Agnef. That dude. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If you look at him, I always thought was it his crown? No, that little showery part that looked like his eyes, but it wasn't really his eyes. I think it was like the crown or something that he was really wearing. If you look at his design, I always thought
he did look pretty funny in that game.
Yeah, he does look pretty funny because like as a child when I played that, like my brain like kind of like switched the appearance for me because they're like, no, that's his eyes. And I'm like, I don't think that's his eyes. And like I was always questioning, but it was cool knowing that Agnef was Ganondorf's alter ego. Like when he goes back to the Dark World, I did like that going traveling to the Dark World too. And then what else? Dungeon wise, 10 out of 10. Dungeon wise, 10 out of 10. Everything was so unique, so complex. It took a while for me to understand like certain dungeon. Oh, let me not get started with the bosses because that little freaking what's that worm-looking thing? Freaking
yeah, the guy who knocks you down and you gotta go back to the very beginning
and resets the
make
whole
it to him
freaking
again.
battle.
It's not because Nintendo couldn't make it that you at least go back to the entrance of that fucking place. No, they had to go and make you go all the way to the beginning of the dungeon, and you have to walk all the way over there. And then if he knocked you down, you have to walk all the way to him again.
Yeah, it's so tedious. Like, you know how much time I spent falling and coming back and just looking at the damn thing like, God damn it, stop resetting me.
You guys do know there's a way to glitch yourself up there, right?
What was that?
There is a way to glitch yourself up there so you don't fall.
That I did not know because I was just so frustrated of that worm thing that it just kept spiraling around the freaking small little room. Small little room. But final boss of facing Ganondorf. If anybody plays that game for the first time, don't go face Ganondorf without the silver arrows. If you don't have the silver arrows, you cannot beat him whatsoever. You cannot beat him. Oh, and also have half magic because you need the magic. You need the magic for this fight. Because if it's completely darkness in that room, you're dead. That's all I'm gonna say. You're dead. You're dead. And especially if you fall from his little freaking battlefield. If you fall from there and come back, the whole freaking fight resets.
One of the first Zelda games to ever play with the notion of different versions of the boss battles.
Oh yeah, they did have that. And then I think this game, the boss difficulty, I gotta say it was actually pretty difficult. It was actually pretty difficult for like 2D wise. It was actually freaking pretty difficult. Well, that's gonna be my number 3 for The Link to the Past.
Mr. Williams, number 3.
My number 3 is also A Link to the Past.
Let's go.
I mean, it's dude. Everything you just got done saying. I mean, that's one of the best games ever. The design for Link in that game was one of my favorites. I like the purple hair thing going on, and there's the music in the game, just the atmosphere. Like I said, that opening with the rain, like it's amazing. It's a great game, and if any Zelda player out there has not played this, they should really go and just buy it and play it, like right now.
Victor, if you're watching this, everything Ash said.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Right now, just go out, play the game, and then judge us afterwards.
I highly recommend that because that game is a really good 2D game.
And what's funny is A Link Between Worlds is the sequel to that. I think they said it's like 100 years or something.
100 years.
Yeah, it's like 100 years afterwards. Yeah. It really wasn't that long. It was like 2 generations of Links.
And then the sequel to A Link Between Worlds was Triforce Heroes.
Can we not, please?
I had to do it one time.
I mean, you had to, but
I had to. 2 great games followed by, like I said, in terms of story, it's a horrendous game. All right.
2 amazing games with such amazing story. And they had to cap it off with that, bro. That's just so frustrating.
Nintendo said, "Yo, let's do this. Let's make this as a joke."
This is Nintendo. You like the story? All right. My number 3. Are you ready?
Yes.
It is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. At number 3. Let's see, where do I begin? When this game came out, I got a day one on the Switch. I bought the Switch mostly for this game, even though I had the Wii U. I took a 9-day vacation from my job to play this game. Literally went on vacation for 9 days because I knew I was going to be in this game for hours upon hours and upon hours. And the reason this game does not make it higher on my list is for pretty much one reason alone, and it's lack of a story. There is not a lot of substance in the story mode here, and that's because Nintendo made it where you could just go anywhere at any point, at any given moment. You saw something and you could just go over there. In terms of gameplay and all that, this is definitely the best Legend of Zelda game because of that freedom. No other Legend of Zelda game gives you that amount of freedom this game does. Like when Nintendo's saying it was one thing, but when you finally play it yourself, it was another. You literally start the game, and after you leave that first part of the game, you get the little glider, You could literally go anywhere. If you saw the mountain, you could go to that mountain. The freedom that you could go anywhere at any point. It's just literally any point. You could beat the game whenever you wanted. Do you want to do the dungeons? Go do the dungeons. You ain't want to do the dungeons? Go straight to Ganondorf. It was what I don't recommend that. I really don't recommend that.
Death at the doorstep.
And I loved Link's design. It was a controversial before the game came out. Like, yo, where's Link's green outfit? I do love the champion's tunic, though. I love that. I love the art style of the game. It has that anime looking art style in the game. It's just fantastic. The game is absolutely gorgeous. Now, unfortunately, like I said, it's number three. It's story. Because of that freedom, Nintendo had to make the choice of not giving you a lot of story. The story, you have to go to specific locations to get flashbacks. So that's the context of the story because there's not a lot in there because of that freedom. Because if they put a lot of story and lock you in, then you don't have that sense of freedom. I can go anywhere at any given time. That's where I'm hoping Breath of the Wild 2 improves upon Breath of the Wild story mode. And there are other thing that bummed me down on the game a little bit is none of the dungeons were memorable compared to the franchise. Not that they were bad, they were fun. The idea that you got to tilt the divine beast and move them around to get to certain parts and then move them again, that was all creative. It was all different. But in terms of actual fun and creativity and all that, the Wind Waker has better dungeons. Ocarina of Time has better dungeons. Shit, I would argue just about any Zelda game has better dungeons. A Link to the Past in that regard. So yeah, there was some missteps there because of giving you that liberty and freedom. And there's only four of them, right? There's only four divine beasts. And then the other problem was that the bosses of all the divine beasts were essentially just a piece of Ganon. It was Thunder Blight Ganon and Wind Blight Ganon and Water Blight Ganon. Like literally, the creativity of the bosses. Like obviously, when this game came out, and even now, so a lot of people, this is the number one Zelda game, and it's because of the freedom of the world. But if you actually look at it, there are some issues in the game, and the bosses are usually part of the fun in a dungeon. Like, what does the final boss gonna look like? And even though they all fought differently, it was not very. The signs were all very similar, almost identical. And then you add the final boss. So Ganon himself was all looking deformed. I love that fight. He's brutal, relentless. He will just attack you with all the moves the other type of Ganons have attacked you with. But if you chose to do the story mode or for dungeons like I did, I'm pretty sure you all did, he immediately loses half his life. Right? So that alone is somewhat controversial because it makes the fight easier. But despite that, the fight with Ganondorf was a lot of fun. The final boss against Ganon is easily one of the worst in the franchise. He never touched me. He barely moves. He's just like stuck there. He's so big, he can't even really move. You go from a very good Ganondorf fight to a very, very, without a doubt, the worst Ganon fight there's ever been in this franchise. He does, when I say he didn't move, he was like a statue there. Just so big. He's just shooting stuff, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to ride my horse behind you, sir. But despite that, the music, the trailer music for this, I can't even think of the name right now. It is also in Smash Brothers Ultimate. Probably my favorite Legend of Zelda song. And yeah, I love the game. The game's amazing. The thing is, this game lives and dies by its open world nature. Of you can go anywhere at any given point. That's why it's my number 3.
That game, it's actually a pretty good game. I spent an entire summer playing that game. Just just spending my time playing that game.
It's the longest Legend of Zelda game ever.
Yes, and freaking that game was not too bad. I did like the whole open world, the freedom you just said. If they would have put more context of the story wise,
that's the game's biggest problem. There's not a lot of story, and that hurts the game when the franchise has had so many amazing stories.
Mm-hmm. And plus, that game, I don't think there's any limitations in that game because you can actually do a lot of things.
My God! Even to this day, on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere, people find new stuff, new ways to manipulate the game system, and these aren't glitches. It's the stuff you could do in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just people are still finding amazing stuff
Freaking, I
in
saw a
there.
video of this one dude. He's just like the Flying Guardians.
Yeah.
It was super far, super far. He shot an arrow. That arrow kept going. It just kept going, and it hit him and destroyed him in one shot because he was using the ancient arrows. Destroyed him one shot, and I was just like, I didn't know the arrows shoot that far, and it's
Yeah.
still a contact.
And can I just say, it's so cool riding the shield down. You get on the shield, just sliding down.
The shield surfing, I did
Yeah.
like that. The shield
It's
surfing
amazing.
was actually pretty cool, but I feel like that game is like one huge Easter egg because you see everything from each of every Zelda game. It's one huge Easter egg.
Right, but that it's also what created the problem. That there is still debate to this day as to where exactly does the game take place.
I
And
gotta say the Fallen Hero timeline because if you
some
actually
people will tell
look
you
at his
that.
cap,
I would tell you the Child timeline. Just because alone they reference Twilight Princess in the actual story mode, the Twilight have only shown up in that timeline. But then that creates the other problem that it talks about the rocks from the Great Sea, which is only in the adult timeline. It just creates that problem. I mean, there was a theory, right? Game theory made a theory that they felt like the one game that could bring it all together was this game.
Oh yes,
But Nintendo considers this game non-canon, so I guess that goes out the
that
window.
flies out the window. But if it was canon, that would make sense.
Our
If it
Warriors
was
would be the
canon.
perfect game to bridge all the gaps together.
And plus, another thing from that game, freaking what was it? Damn it, I just had it.
Nobody is mentioning Lon Ranch in Breath of the Wild. Why?
Which is also Ocarina of Time, yes. But you know why I don't talk about it, because that doesn't help you find the timeline placement, right? Because Ocarina of Time is the game that calls the timeline placement. So the three timelines. So
There's another big hint with the Lionels. They said the Lionels only showed up on the Fallen Hero timeline.
That's what I'm saying. The game, because they want to reference so many Zelda games, it's like it references all three timelines. So the only way it could ever take place realistically is if Nintendo found a way to merge all three timelines again.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it was before Ocarina of Time, somewhere with the originals.
Yeah. But I guess as of right now, just the events of the Twilight Princess have only happened, as of right now, to our knowledge, right? There hasn't been another game to explore that on the child timeline. But anyway, enough theorizing where does Breath of the Wild take place. Mr. Williams?
I think that's gonna have to wait till another day.
Yeah, we can have another
listen.
discussion of Breath for a while.
So we're doing number 2s now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fantastic. Because my number 2, Brian, is the Ocarina of Time. Since we were just getting to that. Look, brother, I love that game, and you know it. You know I have beaten that game front ways, backwards, Master Quest 3DS. I even did that that like fan made one that was out a couple of years ago that was like meant to be ultra super hard.
Can I just say, Master Quest, I forgot to talk about that. It's incredibly difficult.
Incredibly difficult. And I loved it, man. I love The Legend of Zelda and Master Quest. I thought that was the better experience than the regular version. I know a lot of people will be like, are you a psychopath? Are you on drugs? Maybe.
Your audio is going back wild again.
Let me try it. I'm going to exit out and try this again. Give me a second.
Man, we're having so many issues today. We never really have this many issues.
Freaking first time I coming in, I'm experiencing this issue.
Sir, you're having the same audio problem, sir. Just exit and rejoin like last time.
Oh, I got you.
Guys, I apologize once again. This is like the second time this happens. There we go. There's the first guy.
These are just the worst connection days, Brian. Any better? Well, I can't really tell. Anyway, where was I? Ocarina of Time. Greatest temples in the whole game, the whole series, everything.
There we go.
Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic, because, man, I love Ocarina of Time. And it would be a shame for me not to be able to talk about it. The Master Quest, again, best version to me. I found the difficulty spike very, very, very non-Nintendo like, because Nintendo likes to hold your hand, give you a little lollipop, that kind of stuff. But man, Master Quest sent me on a fucking trip, boy. that shit was difficult as hell.
Yeah,
And
Master Quest was actually pretty difficult.
it was difficult as fuck. But the reward when you finally kill Ganondorf at the end in Master Quest, you're like, fuck yeah, you fucking piece of shit, and you feel really good. Just like Brian said, one of the greatest stories. There is only one story that I think is better in the entire timeline. So, and I know that obviously goes next, but that's where I'm trying to go with it. Like, I loved it. I know a lot of people are going to hate on me for this. I enjoyed Navi. I enjoyed not being completely alone throughout the experience because he was a child. You know what I'm saying? When I was playing this, I was relating to Link. And the many times, because I've played it like at least over 100 times, I've beaten that game minimum. I played it as a child and I related to Link, like literally just waking up one day and then the world being like, hey, well, we need you. And he's like, huh? Because he didn't know shit. He was a fucking kid. And then, he grows up out of nowhere overnight, literally, and has to go and fight the most powerful monster in the universe all alone. But he braved that shit. He didn't give a fuck. He was just, you know what? Screw it. I'm doing it.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time. One thing I love about that game is just the pacing. Like Nintendo got this problem later on, where they want to over-explain everything and like over-explain the mechanics of every game. Ocarina of Time is like, here, wake up, go.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, that's how it starts off.
Yeah, and that was really the thing that got me about that game. I loved it. Man, the soundtrack to this day, still still the best soundtrack. In my opinion, that is
Garuda
the
Valley
best.
still slaps.
We have
That-
we actually have a comment from somebody who's watching. He wrote, "My favorite on Legend of Zelda game is Twilight Princess."
And
No,
that
we
was
have-
on
we
my
have- we have-
list. That was
that
on
was
my
there.
list, and it's yet to be on Brian's list. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's yet to be on my list. So, Mr. Rao Console, I hope I said that right. I'll get
We're
to that
sorry.
very soon.
Yeah, but listen, Ocarina of Time, gave Twilight Princess a lot of its layout because it was the same Hyrule in that.
Ocarina of Time just gave the layout to 3D games the same way I Like to the Past gave that layout to the 2D games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, just the pacing, like you said, you start
Yeah.
off real slow, with the Deku tree, real simple puzzles. You have to shoot an eyeball, jump through some webs, like little stuff. And
Burn some webs.
hold on, in the Master Quest version, boy, they changed the item placements, they changed the compass placements, they changed everything.
What's the
Holy
map
shit.
flip too, right?
Yep, it's flipped on top of it. It's pretty ridiculous. But Master Quest was again harder but more fulfilling when you finally beat it. But yeah, that's why Ocarina of Time is my favorite. Oh, and just a little piece of something. Ocarina of
That's
Time
like your
is also
favorite. Your number two.
Sorry, it's my favorite in terms of gameplay and story, except for one, and which
Mhm.
is I'll get to that next.
My number two. I'm gonna go with my number two. Um, we have he has commented it again. There is his comment for all of you to
Oh,
see.
it's the same.
He said, Ocarina of Time is amazing as well. I love the dungeons, but I find the Fire Temple very forgettable compared to the rest. Yeah, you're not
Do
wrong
the
about
fire
that.
temple on the Master Quest.
Let me tell
I
you.
guarantee you're gonna change your mind.
Let me tell you. The first time I played Master Quest, and then when I got to the Fire Temple, I didn't have no fire arrows, and then there was that one freaking torch like yay far from you, and you couldn't. If you didn't light that up, you cannot progress. And I'm like, guess I gotta leave the Fire Temple and go somewhere else.
Yep. Hold on, I think I just accidentally cut my foot on the side of my bed. Good job, America.
My number two, my second favorite Legend of Zelda game of all time. It is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
You
Without a
bastard.
doubt, my second favorite one. The soundtrack is it's just straight fire from beginning to end. Oh my god. There is one thing this game does better than anything else, and it gives character and motivations to and reasons to every person in the game. So the world's about to end, the moon's about to crash, and as the 3 days happen, you see everybody's reaction to the 3 days. From nobody cares to some start getting worried, and by the third day,
Some
they're all
people are in
panicking.
complete denial.
People are
Yeah,
panicking
some of them are
because
already ready
they
to
know they're
leave.
going to die. It's a darkness and a sadness that has yet to honestly be ever done correctly the way this game did it. Gameplay mechanics, right? There's always the debate of which one was actually better, right? Was it Ocarina? Was it Majora? I go with Majora. Also, the gameplay is also still the most different one, allowing you to transform into a Goron, Deku, Zora, not counting also the Fierce Deity Link, which, my God. And this game's one downside is there's only 4 dungeons. Just like Breath
Yep,
of the Wild, which
only
I
four
already talked
dungeons.
about, only 4 dungeons. But just the amount of side quests and the mask collecting just bring the whole game up completely in terms of content. Yeah, you don't have to get every mask in the game if you don't want to, but you really should. Like, you really should. Without a doubt. Link following directly after Ocarina is just right. The one downside is like this is the Legend of Zelda. There's no Zelda, but you can't have Zelda in every game. So people who complain about that to me, it didn't bother me at all. It was one of the few times where Gandalf was not even in the game at all, and
Yep.
we got the original villain of a game was not overshadowed by just forcing Gandalf at the end. Like,
To be honest, there's times where I think that Majora may have been more powerful than Ganondorf.
well, considering that it took fears, well, again, it depending how you played the game, right? But considering how easily he is overpowered by Fierce Deity Link, I would even agree with that sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, you know, I'm just gonna spoil it. That's my number one. Obviously, no fucking shit. There couldn't be any other one. But
That's my number two.
in look, and it's good. We're all in conversation about Majora's Mask right now. Listen, you that game brought so many like different tropes to Zelda. Like for example, that was the first game where they made Zelda more of an RPG than anything else. Like they gave Link the ability to semi communicate with people with the masks.
Mm-hmm.
He became other people and became invested in other people's lives. And that's eventually how he helped out everybody. Like for example, the fish dude with the guitar. Dude, listen, I'm a guitar player, okay? And those damn Zoras with their freaking awesome skeleton guitars, like, I know I have like some flying bees and fancy stuff
That's the
over
other
here
thing.
too.
Majora's Mask continued the trend of, honestly, another terrible water temple. The Great Bay how the 4 dungeons, the Great Bay is the most forgettable one of the 4, and it's also the most
Um,
frustrating.
That's the Water Temple's brother.
Yeah,
I
it's,
agree, but hold on. The Master Quest version.
There's a master.
Again, there is a Master Quest version of Majora's Mask. There was
I'm
one of
intrigued now.
both. However, I don't know that the Master Quest was ported to the 3DS. I think that was only the 64, if I'm not mistaken. But there is, and
first
it's
I hear it.
yeah, no, it's not. It's like the CDI games. Nobody wants to play them. uh, anyway, point being is, Majora's Mask is the greatest, and I love the tone of the game. Creepy, like super, depressing to be honest, because you only have 3 days to save everyone. That whole entire timeline, like that puts a panic to you. If you don't know the Song of Inversion, like you have to play the Song of Time, I believe, backwards or doubled or something like that to slow down time,
Oh
and
yeah,
it
you gotta
gives
play
you
it
like an
backwards.
Yeah,
extra
if you
like
don't
half
do
a day.
that, the game is just like
Yeah,
you
it's
gotta
too
hurry.
quick. It
You
gets
gotta
quick.
hurry. Before I ever learned that, was actually the one who told me about that. There was times where sometimes I'd be in a dungeon and it's like time's about to run out. I gotta go back to the beginning and just redo the whole thing.
I
It can
remember
be
experiencing that.
frustrating. It can be frustrating.
Oh yeah.
I believe
Oh, it can be
there
very.
was a character that tells you or give you a hint about it. I'm pretty sure. I think it was one of
Yeah,
the
there is a character.
scarecrows.
Yeah, I think somebody tells you that.
Yeah, it's the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow tells
Yeah.
you about it. Right, when the music starts going, you know what I'm talking about, in the observatory.
Oh, the observer. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is turning into a concert.
Yeah, man, that thing was
So,
slap.
to make sure, that's both of your number ones.
No, the
No, that's
Majora's
his
Mask was my
number.
number 2.
That's his number
Oh, Majora's
two.
Mask
This
is your
is
number 2. All
Yeah,
right, all right. Well, Ash already went from 2 and also jumped to 1. So go ahead, Jose. Um, go do your number 1 then.
my number 1. You're already looking at it.
Skyward Sword.
I
Yeah.
say you're already looking at it.
I had a feeling earlier. I'm like, why that picture?
I knew it. I knew it too.
I have that game made me feel like I was actually in the adventure, because everybody has their times of saying like your motion controls is shitty and stuff like that. I agree, it was shitty because if you don't have Wii Motion Plus, you can't play that game without it. But I used to hate going. You have to recalibrate it all the
Yeah, all
damn
the time.
time.
All the time.
Because I'm like swinging, I'm like, hold up. I've noticed like one simple frame that I was like, I'm off beat, and I was like, I gotta do it again. I gotta do it again. But I did like the whole
Especially when you use some of the items, like the little bug beetle thing.
that
If,
beetle
if,
helps
yeah,
you so
if
much.
it's not, if your
Like I said,
controller's
best
not on
item in the
thing,
game.
it's annoying.
Best item in the game. Because I usually launch that, just search throughout the whole dungeon, so I'll be like, okay, now I know what to do.
Yeah.
But freaking in terms of that game, best story I ever seen. Best story.
That's
Best
what I was
story.
talking about earlier when I put it at my number 6, I think it was. And yeah, the game story, it has my favorite Zelda, right? The soundtrack is among the best. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just it's the first
Demise's design is amazing.
it's the first time, and I would even say so far still the only time when you truly felt that Link Zelda relationship, like you have to go save her.
Yeah,
Now
because
you weren't
their
just
relationship
saving
was
the
super strong.
princess, you felt that friendship, like you gotta save your friends. And while other Zelda games did do that they were friends already, none have done it better than Skyward Sword.
Yeah, no.
Hold on a second. Whoa,
They went
whoa.
to school together. They went to the academy together.
Yeah, but in Ocarina of Time, that was the first person that Link was tasked to see. You know, that whole entire thing. I thought it was much
Link
better.
and
I don't know.
Zelda's relationship in Ocarina, it's compared to Skywars. No, I've always
I
said
know
it.
it's not the same. I know it's not the same.
It's
I'm
that
saying I
Skywars
preferred
so
the
right because
Ocarina
you gotta
one.
save Zelda so many times and Breath of the like. I'm not even gonna name the games. My God, there's just so many of them. But in that game, like Jose was saying, like the story, I personally was like, yo, I gotta do this. I gotta save Zelda, right? And it's just that bond that they have that is shown to you through the cutscenes. Because at the time, it was also the most cinematic Zelda game.
The
It's
cutscenes were actually pretty good.
yeah, it was just so amazing. Their relationship in that game, their relationship is what carries that game to the height that it has. It's like, for example, um, movie wise, a lot of people bash the Amazing Spider-Man movies, right? But a lot of people will tell
Mhm.
you that Peter and Gwen, because of their chemistry, is what makes that movie good. It was like that. Link and
Mhm.
Zelda's relationship in this game, that relationship is what carries the game to like story so high up there. I love that.
Freaking temples. The temples was actually pretty good. I did like the big key is not a big key. It's like a giant
Yeah, the
puzzle or
puzzle.
something like that. That you have to like move it around, switch it around to actually get an insert to the door to the keyhole. That was actually a pretty nice concept they put um for like getting the last key. It was actually pretty cool because like I mean I'd rather have the big key just get me into the door. Just get me in.
It's also
Like
the game that explained why Link is always dealing with Ganondorf because of the curse by demise.
mhm.
Demise's design was so amazing. I think the entire thing about the curse is just perfect.
Everything was
Explains
played
so
well.
many
Everything was
random
played well.
things in Zelda, and it
Freaking, I
makes
feel
sense.
like Demise's design because freaking he kind of reminds me of Akuma because of the hair and stuff like
Yeah,
that, and
Kuma.
the way his appearance is. It just kind of reminds me of Akuma, like when he
He's
was
like a
the Oni.
super Akuma because he's fucking huge,
Hell yeah!
So
Oh, and that Dark Master Sword,
yes,
that thing is
dude.
a
That thing
freaking
is
killer.
huge.
I forgot how much damage you take from that sword, but that's a freaking dangerous sword. And I was like, holy snap! But gameplay, the gameplay was a bit struggle because I
that's
gotta
why I
tell you,
can't.
I
That's
did
why I
play
can't
that
wait for the
game
Switch
just like
version.
actually standing and swinging and stuff. Like I was actually like in the like I was actually feeling like I was Link and stuff like that. I was like, yo, I'm gonna every time like when I do the running, I always pretend I'm not actually running too because I was like, oh, let me feel how he feels. But other than that, I was just creating a whole good scenario, just me in that game, and that game is just too damn amazing. Fee or Fi, whatever, however you want to
By
call her,
FIFO.
freaking that freaking humanoid looking thing.
Yeah,
She was alright. She was alright, but it was annoying how the
another
whole
guy.
She is the spirit of the
stuff like
Master
We got the
that.
Sword.
Navi
I don't know
Defender and
why
the
she
Fire
never
Defender.
appeared
Besides,
before.
besides her just constantly repeating the same shit, but like besides that, if she didn't say that much, repeating herself and other things, like if they would have given her more dialogue and better like interaction with her, she would have been a really cool character too as your companion.
All right, all right, all right. So we got Skyward Sword, Majora's Mask, and Ash. What's my number one?
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess.
I already knew it. I already knew this whore. How dare you?
And he has the Wii version and the Wii U.
And the Wii U version is downstairs. So I just didn't feel like bringing all three cases.
I had the old cards of the boss. I think it was like the boss. One of the bosses. I think it was Morpheal. The water looking.
Which
Oh yeah,
one?
yeah.
I have a card of that boss. Of it tells you like the weakness and tells you what
So,
items you need to
You
actually
mean the
face it. So it was
Morphos?
pretty cool.
well, he means
Yeah.
some people call it more feel, whatever. The water, yeah, the water dungeon boss.
I
Okay.
hear
Yeah.
ya.
Yeah.
I hear
Yeah.
ya.
So the Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. what I was touching upon earlier was right. I played Ocarina first, but for some reason, growing up, Ocarina was not the game that hooked me into Zelda. I was enjoying it. I just growing up originally, I played it, and then I just dropped it. Twilight Princess came around. I played it. I never dropped it. It just had me from beginning to end. This is my favorite design for Link. It is still to this day the most realistic looking Zelda. So, especially if you play the Wii U version, to this day, if you want a realistic looking Zelda, which is what everybody wanted after the Wind Waker, this is still that game, even years later.
And
Even with
guess what,
Yeah,
though? Not a lot of people
it's
want
still
that
pretty
again
good to
because
this
it's not
day.
going to hold up well, Brian.
even after to this day, Skyward Sword took Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, just fused it together. Breath of the Wild went for the anime look. A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes went back to that cartoony stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, that goes for any game, by the way, sir. Realistic games from that time don't look realistic anymore. Games like Devil May Cry, those OG Resident Evils, none of it holds up well compared to the art styles of Breath of the Wild, Skyward Sword. And there's a reason why the Wind Waker could pass by a brand new game
Because of the
versus
HD.
that
No,
art style.
I will say this, Brian. For you, for your sake, man, Twilight Princess did have a lot of really great reinterpretations of the Ocarina of Time music. Like,
Mhm.
the whole like Saria's theme being reworked into that like creepy like medley. I thought that was really great, and I will give you that. That entire fight with Skull Kid was amazing. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It was amazing. A
Yeah,
great
the
reference to
soundtrack of
all
The
the
Legend of Zelda
classics.
Twilight Princess, especially its main theme. All right, even you fell in love with that even before you
I
really got
know.
into the game.
I know.
Uh, the wolf, I love being Wolf Link. I don't mind collecting the tears like anybody else complains about it. So much that Nintendo reduced the amount on the Wii U version. I like
Yeah,
being
in
Wolf
the
Link.
HD version, they
I
shortened it.
Yeah, Midna. No, nobody, and this is a known thing, right? By the whole community. Midna is still to this day the best companion for a couple of reasons. One, she has the most character, right? Where Fi is
Mhm.
robotic and Navi is just annoying. She actually has character, and she is the actual Twilight Princess. She, along with Link, is the story of the game because she is the actual Twilight Princess, where Navi
Mhm.
and Fi are secondary, just there to assist you for whatever reason they have. She had a reason. The story mostly actually revolves around her to a certain degree. Her rivalry with San. San is after them, but he's after Midnight reality, which San also brings me to San, which is one of the coolest looking Zelda bosses, enemy designs. And it's unfortunate that just at the end right there, just we have to just like hear
like
him and
I
just
like I already said, talking about Link Between Worlds.
hold up. I have to mute you guys because it's going robotic. So I'm just gonna finish this statement to close the video. It's going robotic again. Um, so Sant was amazing. I actually love the fact that he went buck wild at the end there. Just completely went insane. Oh my god, there's just so much. Even though Ganondorf was forced in there, you Ash touched upon this earlier. The fight with Ganondorf is still probably in terms of set pieces, still the biggest one. Like he said, the Phantom Zelda, the Ganon fighting Ganondorf on horseback riding and fighting Ganondorf one on one. It's still to this day probably the biggest Ganon fight, like I said, in terms of set pieces.
Yeah, that
But
Ganon fight was actually pretty freaking fun. I
yeah,
would say the his first form of the fight when he turned to his pig form.
yeah.
That was actually pretty cool because he was manipulating the Twilight powers to like
Mm-hmm.
him teleporting and stuff. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was like using my surroundings. I'm like using the cameras to look around. I'm like where he's gonna pop out, where he's gonna pop out, and I like learned the color of the symbol they have of the Twilight powers, like knowing like if he's gonna come out from there or not. It was kind of like a kind of resembles of the first dungeon from the adult Link in Ocarina of Time when you face Phantom Ganon when he goes from
Yeah.
the painting and stuff. It was
From the
kind of
picture.
similar like that. It was kind of similar, but
And there was
I
no
did like
denying.
that.
There was no denying that Twilight Princess owes a lot to Ocarina of Time, and that's what I was also touching upon earlier. The combat, to me, the combat is still the best in Twilight Princess, even after Breath of the Wild, even after Skyward Sword that came afterwards. Skyward Sword, it had depends on the motion controls, and Breath of the Wild, the weapons are breaking every 2 minutes. So I still love the combat. The fact that Ocarina of Time Link is showing this Link training him, showing the moves. It's like we have two Links at the same time. Twilight Princess gave us that moment. It's just an amazing, incredible moment to have two Links there at the same time. The dungeons in the game are amazing. It has a water dungeon that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
The Garuda Desert dungeon is I forgot the name of it.
Arbiter's Ground?
Yes. Amazing, amazing dungeon. My God, right now my head is like elsewhere. The snow one, the snow one, Snow Peak. What's the Snow Peak? Yeah,
No,
that
Snow
dungeon
Peak.
Snow
I
Peak,
think the
yes.
Snow Peak
yeah,
one
Snow
was
Peak
Majora's
was
Mask.
amazing. The sky, going to the sky was completely just different. The Twilight Palace, going to the Temple of Time. It's just the temples are on fire. Like they're on steroids in this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they don't disappoint. Yes, some of the bosses were a little disappointing. They're cool in terms of set pieces, like the Sky Temple. You had the Dragon Ragnarok, or I think that's
The
what it was called.
dragon sucked.
Yeah, he doesn't actually really fight. In
Yeah,
terms of
he was just
spectacle,
fire
in terms of
breathing.
spectacle, right? It's cool because you're swinging around them and whatever, but he doesn't do much. It's just like he's just flying.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of the bosses were, I want to use the term, they were brain dead. They really were. But we also had some amazing bosses. Everybody seems to love some Star-Lord from uh, Arbiter's Ground, the Snow Peak one. We fought the spider again, a different spider, but fighting the spider again was just a cool
That
back
freaking
to
spider
Ocarina
from
of
the
Time.
freaking Temple of Time. That thing was so stupid.
I still remember her name, Queen Goma.
So
Green
Twilight
Goma.
Princess,
They
the one,
reused the same character, but just put Queen in a different design.
yeah, and the one aspect of Twilight Princess that doesn't age well is its opening. Its opening does
Oh
not
my
age
god.
well.
Fucking
Because
opening
opening
that's like
where
an hour
always
Ocarina of
long.
Time,
fire.
where Ocarina of Time was like, wake up, here you go. He in this game felt the need to explain everything little by little. You gotta go fish this. You gotta train these kids. You gotta give these kids your sword. You gotta look for the missing kid. You gotta look for the missing monkey. Then you go
Mhm.
back. Then they get captured. Then you turn into a wolf. And after that, you're Link. And now you get going in your adventure the right way. It's an opening on a first time basis. I didn't mind it. I don't even really hate it like some people. Yeah, because it goes realistically. This Link is living a peaceful life, and things just slowly start to unfold. But when you want to replay the game, right? You want to go through it. It becomes a chore just to get through it. Because like you want to get on the adventure, and that's where Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild, I can just put in the game and we just get going.
They said go. Have
Majora's
fun.
Mask as well.
Majora's Mask as well. Yeah, Majora's Mask is Ocarina stolen. Get going there, sir.
No, dude, and Majora's Mask, to be honest, that's one of the most underrated openings in video game history. Bro, Link, it literally goes on a search for Navi, or who we assume to be Navi.
Well,
And then he sees these two
I don't know
douchebags.
why anybody will go for Navi, because, like I said, she's annoying.
It was his friend, man, okay?
She
Stop
went
being a
through the
douche.
adventures with him. She saw him struggle, saw him learn and everything. Pretty much, she was always by his side until she went and died. And because for fairies, once they fulfill their purpose, they wither.
Yo, listen, first of all, the moment that Link gets knocked off the horse by the fairies and Skull Kid pops up and picks up the ocarina from his pocket, that's the most unsettling moment I've ever seen ever, dude. Even in like Resident Evil games, dude, all he does is just boop, ha, boop, It starts laughing at you, and you're like, "What the
That's
fuck is
a
happening?"
horrible imitation,
And then
sir.
he stole the Ocarina and
I know I'm
and
terrible,
hijacked your
but you
horse.
know what I'm talking about.
I
I
know.
guarantee you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's creepy as hell.
And then he hijacks Epona and then takes off.
Yeah, and then turns you into a fucking Deku scrub. Like you're just so confused in the beginning of that. You're like, "What the fuck just happened to me? I was just Link with a sword and shield. I was jumping over these logs, flipping over them. By the way, Link
Yeah, I
does
was gonna mention
parkour in
those.
that
That was
one.
actually pretty cool when they Nintendo implemented that. It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, you felt so badass for 5 seconds, and then, you fall down the rabbit hole of Alice in Wonderland, and all of a
Yep.
sudden everything's fucked up.
Get turned to a
I'm
Deku
pretty
Scrub.
sure. I'm pretty sure Termina is somewhere in Low Rule, especially with Link Between Worlds having the weirdo, from that world having Majora's Mask on his wall. And if you go down there, you actually find references to like a crashed moon in that game too. Yeah, and in Low Rule, I forget where it is, but there is a section where you find a reference to that, and you find a bunch of other references too, like a bunch of weird shit. So I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure Termina is in Low Rule or some other
Like it
version of it.
exists somewhere in the Low World's world.
Yeah. It has to be there. It's
So we've been
Could
brought
be.
together by a love for Zelda, right? It's like I touched upon earlier. No matter your number one, right? Majora's, we have Majora's Mask, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, three completely different games.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly the Legend of Zelda is so great. There is no wrong answer. I can understand why Majora's Mask would be your number one. I can understand why Skyward Sword is your number one. Twilight
We can
Princess.
understand why Twilight Princess is yours, even though I'm highly biased against it.
And this guy.
I understand, and then and that guy
Yeah,
too.
he
We
says his favorite is
understand.
Twilight
We
Princess, too.
understand. We get it.
Like,
And
Twilight
hold
Princess,
on.
when I first played it, it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game. I did like the intro of how it starts off. You're a farmer. You're a farmer.
Intro
You're living a farmer life until your life started changing right before your eyes. His friends got kidnapped. Well, no, I can't really say friends. They're more like family because they all live in the ranch.
Golden Village, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they're basically more like family with one another, with each other.
Listen, Majora's Mask made me cry, brother. That game. There's one of the little stories, little quests that you can do, huh?
The Andrew and Cafe or
something? Yeah, you already know exactly where that.
Oh my god, that is such a
bro. They held each other, waiting to die, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, wow, Nintendo, what are you doing to us? Like, dude, that broke my heart. That entire quest just was insane.
Yeah, the whole
getting them together was amazing.
Fun.
Yeah,
you just gotta wait for this dude to like sneak into his like hideout because you got to hide. If you get caught, that quest is over.
When I talked about Majora's Mask, Nintendo hasn't really done this, right? It showed you everybody's emotions as the days are passing.
Mm-hmm.
Even Twilight Princess on the Twilight, it doesn't do that so well because there's times where you see people terrified, but there's times when you see people living their life just fine despite being a spirit.
Not gonna lie, Twilight Princess has a lot of campiness in it for some reason.
It's like, dude, are you guys really in trouble? Like sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. Majora's Mask is just telling you throughout the entire thing, running it one by one, letting you know.
And plus, in Majora's Mask, they actually showed like the 5 stages of grief too.
Yeah. We've all seen that game theory. All right. So hold on. I have something to say to that, man. That the part where you figure out that fucking petrified tree Deku in the very, very beginning is actually that butler's son is like, what?
And that's what and plus he also said that when you wear the Deku mask, he actually says like you kind of remind me of my son with
Hmm.
the whole race.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that Deku that you got turned into is you know,
It's definitely his son.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's sad, man. That is
And
so
they
sad.
actually show it when you beat the game towards like the end credits. They actually showed the butler actually like grieving or sobbing like towards in front of his son's
Yeah,
like
he's got a little umbrella
us.
on and everything, man. That's so sad.
Yeah, that was so sad. Yo. And plus, I actually saw like a fan made video of like their story, like him running through the rain trying to find his son, and then when the moment he found his son, it was too late, and then shows another path that like I think it was like a I don't know if it was in the butler's like mind or something that like he was able to play with his son again and stuff like that. It was just it was super sad. I was just like, damn, this is sad as fuck, yo. It's really sad.
And the very last image you see in the game, in Link with the two fairies drawn on the tree with Skull Kid playing, man,
Mhm.
that is so somber. It breaks your heart.
Super sad.
But we all, as anybody can see, and anybody who's gonna watch this video, we all love the Legend of Zelda, and clearly we all love the Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask.
Hmm.
So yeah, guys,
It's such a good game, and
I
plus,
wanna go ahead.
I want to say, is Twilight Princess darker than Majora's Mask?
I I think Majora's Mask, despite Twilight Princess being my favorite, I think Majora's Mask is darker because of
I
that.
can agree to that. I
Yeah,
always tell people Majora's Mask is darker than Twilight Princess. People are saying, no,
Majora's
no,
Mask shows you people's reaction to the upcoming death. Majora's Mask, has that depressing in a good way feeling of like, man, like world's ending. The world's ending. Like I said, Twilight Princess doesn't do that job so well because sometimes you see the fans, the the people terrified, but there's times when you see them just
yeah.
fine.
Hmm.
So it
I
doesn't do
will
it as
say,
good. So Majora's Mask definitely is still the darkest Legend of Zelda game out there.
Twilight Princess does one thing better than Majora, in my opinion,
What's
and
that?
that is the temples. The temples, they are longer, they're more fruitful. There's more to do.
There's nine of
Um,
them.
you're right, but
Hmm.
my thing is that I really just enjoyed like the side quests. There was so many people to talk to in Majora's
Hmm.
Mask. There was a lot more feeling like you knew that what was it what was his name it's not Miyamoto, it's the other one, forget.
Anuma.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
knew.
Numa.
Yeah.
Listen, you could tell that dude was going through some stuff when
Hell
that
yeah.
game came out. That dude must have been going through the most existential crisis of his life, and
And
he was like, "I'm
I
gonna put
remember
it
that game
into a
was a little
game."
bit rushed too.
It was rushed because it came out like right after Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Because
Many of the
I
assets are
think
still
the
reused.
developer, I don't know if it was the no, I think it was Miyamoto that he said to one of the developers that making Majora's Mask. I think they told him that they have like a year to make one or something like that.
But yeah, which is why they reuse so many.
So many assets. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean the game is great though. And it definitely made you feel like there was something else wrong besides what was happening with Majora. And when you find out how it took possession of Skull Kid,
Hmm.
and how because Skull Kid really wasn't a bad person.
He
He
just wanted
wasn't.
some friends.
Right. He wanted some friends to play with. He wanted something to do, and the mask took advantage of that. It was like, "I'll be your friend forever," and they can't make fun of you anymore. And he went fucking buck wild, man.
Yeah, the power took over him.
Mhm. And listen, I would like to see Majora's Mask make a reappearance in a Zelda game at some point. Like, I don't care if it's the main villain, although it should be, in my opinion. I think it should appear in a game like kicking Ganondorf's ass or something for trying to take it. I think that would be amazing.
It would be cool how Majora's Mask would transform into the rat form, and then it's just starts like throwing its like tentacles at Ganondorf. It's just like fight me, and then it's just like
just chokes him out.
Link is just like, who did I kill, him or him?
That would be great. And then, of course, the fierce deity. I mean, that is the best looking Link. I think we can all agree. Everywhere as a Zelda fan base, that is the best looking Link ever.
When I said Twilight Princess Link was the best, I meant that as regular Links.
I just like how Brian just went from his house and then he just went outside.
Yeah, that is
nature, bro.
Yeah, nature.
Yo, that sword, the fierce deity sword, was remade on another YouTube channel. They made it out of Damascus steel and something else, dude. Man.
You saw it from the Man of Steel, right?
Yeah. That was so good. So great. Zelda's the best.
I actually read the manga version of the Majora's Mask. And I went to towards the last page of the manga. There was actually the origin story of the fierce deity when he actually met Majora.
Yeah, it was like 1,000 years or something like that before the game.
It was Majora was not actually like how the mask was. It was actually a dragon, four-legged dragon.
You know that the fierce deity wasn't actually like good either.
No,
it was actually a malevolent entity. It's just because Link has the power of the Triforce of Courage, he could control it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was also kind of interesting. But yeah, Zelda really is the greatest.
Zelda is the best. I think we can all agree on that clearly by this almost 2-hour-long video.
Yeah, almost 2 hours long.
So guys, I want to thank both of you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
On the top seven Legend of Zelda games. Very interesting list. Every list was pretty much completely different, and that's good. All right, the power of opinion, and that just shows how amazing the Legend of Zelda really is. So guys,
there was only really 4 games that overlapped on our list, and coincidentally, it was the 4 main ones that everyone talks about.
Now,
Wind Waker,
I will
Skyward
say
Sword.
before I end this video, I was shocked that it almost seemed like I was the only one Breath of the Wild on my list.
No, I was gonna ask Breath of the Wild.
I actually did play Breath of the Wild, and I finished the story. I had to, finish it semi-quickly, so I didn't get to explore as much as I wanted to. I didn't get to do as much as I wanted to, but I did at least kill Ganondorf.
Breath of the Wild, even though none of us have it at number 1, so I'm the only one with it on my list. Breath of the Wild has become, to most of the Zelda community, the best Legend of Zelda game. So that's something. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's the power of opinion. It's the power of opinion and how we all see things differently. Well, guys, thank you for joining me, and I hope you guys enjoyed doing this with me. And guys, watching the video, hope you enjoyed the video. This has been Brian Redgrave, Ash, Jose. Jose has a YouTube channel. If you want to give him your name,
right here. That name is right here.
Let's see. Let me assume that in right there, guys.
Right here. Uchiha Kusanagi. That's my YouTube channel name.
So look him up, subscribe. He streams a lot of games. He's actually, speaking of Zelda, he actually did have himself play the Minish Cap. Go check those out.
Yeah, I still gotta finish recording Minish Cap and stuff.
I'm gonna do a shameless plug too, because everybody did one. Follow me on TikTok, Falling Ash.
Follow him on TikTok. We're all over the place. We're all over the internet, sirs.
All right. I'll see y'all. Peace out.
Peace, guys. Have a good day.
You too. All right.